Yo, what's up everyone? It's Chatter here. Um, wow, team tours are very oversaturated now. I originally wanted to make a video about TDT and UCA, um, way back, a while ago. Like right after they drafted, I wanted to make like a, PRs, draft analysis type thing, for both of them. And now there's a third thing that people want me to talk about because there's just so many fucking team tours now. So I guess I'm finally getting around to talking about UCA and TDT, but now I'll also be mentioning TDA in this video. So I guess it's a 3-in-1. You get to hear my opinions on all three of these leagues. And obviously, TDT and UCA are now both like 4 weeks in, so I don't want to like do my post-draft analysis or something because it's pointless when it's been 4 weeks since the draft. So I'm just gonna sort of like go over the standings for both of those, and then talk about my thoughts, like, oh, I didn't expect this team to be doing this well, oh, I expected this team to be, stuff like that. And I guess since I have UCA pulled up here, I'll start with UCA. Just go through the list. International Intellions are 10th. I think I had them at like 8th on my original PRs. I didn't think that team was very good, but I did expect them to be doing better than they are right now. I mean, to be fair, I guess it makes sense that they haven't been doing very well. I don't know what their schedule has been like. I mean, let's see, they faced the Liberos, they faced E7 Charizard's Domain, they faced just Monica. I would have expected them to beat just Monica. And they faced such Perksy. So, I mean, yeah, I guess based on my original PRs, they would be 1-3 right now. So I guess I'm not too surprised at what they've been doing, but I don't know. And then Stone Cold Stunners are 9th, which is more surprising to me, because I think I had them like middle of the pack in post auction. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, their roster is like they have a lot of pretty good players there, like Big Guy Dave, Pesky, Shy Guy. But at the same time, I think it makes sense. But because really, and you don't know how much Pesky's gonna actually care about the tour, and then you have like Sacred Wings and Mid Pokemaster and like a lot of players that aren't the best. I mean, they have Scoot Hawk for 3k, which is a steal. But I don't know. I expect them to be more middle of the pack team. And then you have hashtag just Monica. I definitely thought that they would be like the worst team. Like even before, I keep clicking the wrong tab. Even before their like captain left, I did not think this team was very good. They have Rise of Darkrai, who's the GOAT, and Benny the Bull, obviously, and Techno's pretty good. And that's it. I didn't really think that much about the rest of their team. I feel like they might have made some changes as well since the last time I've seen this team. But yeah, after their captain left, I was like, yeah, okay, this team's gonna do horrible. But they've been doing fine, which I guess is better. And then At 7 was Z7 Charizards. I mean, this team actually really surprised me when they beat Hydro-Sun Sister Squad week 1. I do think this team has a lot going for it. I mean, obviously Robber Panda and Undead on the same team, that's broken, bro. This team's broken. And the Captain Core is very good, actually. Yeah, I didn't think they were like the best team in the league, but I thought they were pretty good. And after they beat like Hydro-Sun Sister Squad week 1, I was like, okay, this team's really good. And then I don't know, for the rest of this time, they haven't really been doing super well. But I don't know. I still think that they're a pretty good team. You know, obviously there's a lot of teams that are sitting at 2-2. So as I'm going up this list, there's teams that are like, oh, you know, Rambat Legends is like 5 spots ahead of just Monica, but in reality, it's not that big of a difference because they both have the same record. And then next is up to Perksy. I think I had them like 4th or 3rd or 4th. I should probably have my original PRs pulled up. But yeah, I guess seeing them at 2-2 isn't super surprising to me. And then Lucky Liberos in 5th. I think I had them like 6th or 7th. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, 2-2 isn't super surprising to me. And then Rambat Legends. I don't think I was a big fan of this team. Yeah, I mean it's okay, but I think 7th and 6th were. Yeah, Lucky Liberos were 6th and they were 7th, and then like they were 8th, they were 10th, and I'll get to who was 9th later. And then in 3rd we see Hydro-Sun Sister Squad. Obviously these next 3 are all 3-1. And I thought that this team, Hydro-Sun Sister Squad, was easily the best team. I mean, like, it's not even close. You know, Phil Pineapple is the best Captain Core, hands down. And they got Ramaxo, Taquito, Endless Gadgets. They've got Gammon, and then look, it's Tristan and Astoria. Wait, wait, I might be mistaking something. No, I got all those. And they got Archer. Let's go. And then Bennett and Clouds. I don't know who those 2 guys are, but Phil said they were good. And I think Ben has been doing pretty alright. I thought this team was easily the best. So I'm not very surprised to see them at 3-1 doing well. I was surprised when they lost week 1, as I mentioned earlier, but I don't know, seeing them at 3-1 isn't, you know, it's what I expected them to be. And then Wishing Starmies I also thought was very good. I think they had them at 2nd, because, you know, they got Halu for really a very reasonable price. And the rest of their team really does know how to play the game. I mean, you have Junior Sniper, Chowd, I don't know who Jimmy G is, but like, and the Captain Core is really good as well. So yeah, I definitely thought this team was very good, and so not very surprising to see them at 3-1. But what is surprising to me is the first place team. Because I definitely did not expect Overrated Mamoswines to be first. I thought the team was not very good. Because I feel like they spend way too much on I mean, I don't know who Jack is, to be fair, but 41k, I was like, that's too much. If I don't know who this guy is, like, I don't know. But I think he has really proven himself, because he's you know 3-0 plus 8 now, so I think, you know, I'm not 100% sure if it was worth it. I don't know if he's, you know, helping out in prep, because someone who goes for that much should be. But he's definitely a good player. And then the Captain Core, Slap. Slap is a good friend of mine. I love that guy. And yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really feel like this team would do well. But they have been. So I guess I've been wrong about that. And with that being said, I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about UCA. So I'll move on to TDT, and we'll do TDA last. So let's talk about TDT. Looks like there's like 2 games that haven't been finished yet in week 4, or haven't been updated yet. Let me see what those games are. Okay, well, RHV won that one, and OKR won that one. Okay, so good to know. That is my cat in the background. I'm not sure what you want. Alright. So yeah, I'll just go through the list again, just like I did with the other one. So at 0-4, Cowboy Bohemians. Yeah, I did not think this team was good. I think I had them at 8th. It's funny, in both UCA and TDT, the team at last I had at 8th. Pretty thing. I mean, I do think there was a pretty big cutoff between 9th and 8th on my original PRs. So I thought this team was, it was okay. I mean, I don't know who the captains are, but obviously, like, they're both good. Because, they're both, like, DPL level players. But with that being said, I think this team spent a lot of money on both Beardy and Ogobina, which I don't really know why you would spend so much money to get 2 LC players. So I found that a little weird, because if you're gonna get, like, you want to spend a lot of money on an LC player on a tour that has LC, but to get 2 of them, that just feels like a waste of money, really. And then there were a couple players on the team I thought would do well. Obviously, Toxic. And then there was Wordlife, who, I mean, I don't really think he was gonna try hard in this league. And so I just didn't think this team was very good, and obviously they haven't been doing very well, so there's that. And that number 9 is actually a big surprise for me, is Blazing Inferno, because I definitely thought this team would be doing a lot better. Obviously those PRs were made before Brat left. And I mean, what it is a fact, and is the absolute GOAT. He preps basically all the time for his team. It's not, since I'm in the server, I know that Ziff really tryhards for this league, and I think that's a good quality to have as a captain. And obviously Ziff wins most of his games as well, or he should win most of his games as well. I don't know what his record is. And so yeah, I found it very surprising that they have been at 1-3. Obviously, they almost won this week versus like NLE Chocobo. They almost won, but they did not quite get there. I think they got hacked a little bit in Mega Osh got hacked a little bit in his game 7. Although there was hacks throughout the series. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I thought this team would be doing well. I think I had them pretty high on my original tier list. Yeah, and then you have Duop Dugongs, who are 1-3. They did lose to OK Roll Boomers. And I think I had this team at like 4th. I definitely thought this team was good. they got a lot of really good players on their team. They have, Love Chance and Kerrigan as the captain, of course, very good. And then you have Blitz and Tort and Arctic Weavile on there, and Phil, although I think they traded him for like Sablo or something. So I thought that team was quite good. And Chess, I forgot about Chess. So like that's a lot of very solid players right there. So I'm kind of surprised to see them doing this poorly, but it happens. And then at 7 we have OKR, although they would be 2-2 now, although probably not at either of the other teams who are 2-2. Both have very good differential, so probably wouldn't still be at 7. And yeah, I thought this team was good. I feel like I've been saying that a lot. I mean, like, so the thing with that team was that there's a couple players that I wasn't 100% sure would do well without prep help. Gammon is one of them. I mean, Gammon's the GOAT, but in a high skill level league like this, you never know. And I wasn't sure how much prep help that they would have. I mean, they had, Skyhorse Tamer, obviously, but just other than that, I mean, I don't know. And then you have Theo, who obviously will do well. You have Hayburner, who will obviously do well. And so that was the main thing that redeemed this team for me, is that they had a lot of players that would do well, but they also had potential for some players not doing well. And I think what really solidified this team as one of the better teams in the league for me was the bottom half of the roster, because in the bottom half they had Manvinder, who's absolutely the GOAT. I don't know why he went for 5k. I mean, he hasn't been doing very well, but I think he's very good. You have Levin Ma, who for 5k is very, very solid. And you have Bunny, who's the same thing, 5k, very, very solid. So I was very surprised to see, all three of those go for so cheap. And so I definitely expected this team to do well, although probably didn't expect this team to be like the best one. And so I had them at like 3rd or something, I don't know. With that being said, I'm not super surprised at how well they've been doing at 2-2. I mean, they did beat Blazing Infernapes week 1, and then they beat who did they just beat? They beat Duop Dugongs this week. So, obviously both the teams that they've beaten aren't like the top tier teams. But I do think that they could potentially do well in the next couple weeks. And make it back to be one of the playoff contenders. Anyway, moving on. At number 6 is we get Diggersby. I mean, obviously everyone thought this team was the worst team. Everyone who's not on the team was like, this team's not going to do well. I mean, they just spent 68k on some random e-girl, and then they had, one player that they spent more than 5k on. With that being said, I think they've really surprised people. I mean, obviously I had them last in my PRs, but even then I was like, they have a lot of team chemistry, obviously. All the French players, they've done well in DLWC, so there's no reason for them not to do well here. And so I figured, I'll put them last, but I'm not going to say like it's impossible for them to do well. And obviously, we've seen them do pretty well. I mean, at 2-2, that's better than a lot of people expected. They didn't make any mid-season transactions, which is a good thing. Um, so yeah, I definitely surprised there. Um, Moving on at number 5, the Clock Series. I did not think this team was very good, I have to say. I think I had them at like 7th. I mean, I feel like Habada for 11k was a little bit much. Although he is at 3-1, so fair enough. And obviously the captain core is really good, so there's that. And then other than that, I didn't really know very many people on this team. I mean, you know, you have Rise of Darkrai, who it was an accident to bid as much as they did on him. I don't think he's worth that much, although he has been doing really well. He was playing LC, I think. And then you have a couple players on the bottom half of that team who are really quite a steal. Lux was good. X-Luke for like 5k is really good. And then I think they also had Cavs for 5k, which is also really good. Yeah, they had Cavs. And so that's why I put them, you know, like 7th above a couple teams. But, you know, I didn't know who Twix was really. So I didn't really feel like putting them above a couple teams. But they've, you know, they're doing pretty well. So there's that. And then at number 4 are the Rocky Helmet Verzions. I think I had this team top 4 in my thing. I don't think they might have been 2nd or 3rd. I don't know, probably 3rd. I think they were 3rd. You know, they have Troy, they have what's his name? J-Slink. They had Horndog, I don't know who that is, but I really like his name. They had Sablo, which they later traded for Phil. So I thought that team was quite good. Obviously, you know, the captain core is also good. Although I don't really know them. And so, yeah, I thought the team was good. I feel like that's just the main thing I'm saying during this section. I'll just move on, I don't have that much to say. Number 3 of NLE Chocolate Fans. I don't know what the hell that team name means, but, you know, I'm white as fuck, so who cares. I think I had this team at like 5th or 6th. They had Rob Jr., who I thought, he went for 50k, and I thought that was pretty reasonable, honestly. Because, you know, he's pretty much easily the best player in the pool. And then they got the Pichu Bros for a pretty reasonable price. And, you know, Pichu has done very well in previous seasons of this tour, so I think that was a good pickup for them. And then they had T-Row, one of the best LC players in the pool. So I thought the team was good, but I didn't think it was as good as some of the teams above them, like, you know, RHV and OKR, but not super surprising to see them doing well in this. And so, yeah, I think that it makes sense to put that they're doing this well. And then you have a really big surprise for me at number 2, is Lucky Rollies. I didn't think this team was very good. They had Finchinator. Obviously, I thought that, you know, Finchinator should win pretty much every game he's in. There's no reason he shouldn't just destroy this league. But with that being said, they spent a lot of money on him, and I felt that, you know, since he is a Smogon player, it's possible that his prep help might not be as useful as, you know, some of the draft league players that went for less money. But with that being said, obviously the team has been doing well, so I don't know who am I to criticize this. And in the back half of the team, you have Pesky, who, you know, there's always a worry about how much he's actually going to care about this league. But I don't know, he seems like he's been doing fine. You have Techno, who's pretty goated, honestly. And then I didn't really know too many other people on this team. I mean, the captain core it's pretty good, but it's not as good as some of the other captain cores. So I wasn't really expecting this team to do very well. But they have been doing quite well. So yeah, I guess I was strong about that one. I didn't really know who Survive or like Joshua or their LC player, Sweet Cake Cookie was. But yeah, they're at 3-1, so good on them. And at number 1 was the Rick Rollouts. I had them 5th or 6th, similar to Enemy Choppa Fan Fans, both pretty similar things, I think, teams, I think. And yeah, obviously this is like the best captain core in the tournament, with Marin Varn and Professor Chipboard, absolutely goated. And then they picked up Rabs for a pretty reasonable price. They have Ultra Player, who's pretty good. They have PZZ, who's, you know, the GOAT, and Cheez-Its as well. And then they have Silver Smasher, who I thought he would play LC, although maybe I'm just, you know, thinking, oh, he's an APA person, he plays LC, but, you know, obviously they don't all play LC. But Marin Varn has been playing LC. And I also have Clone, who is pretty good, honestly. I think he's very solid. And then I have the Smogon player, Scavalier, who doesn't look like he's been doing super well, but, you know. So I didn't really expect him to do this well, but I guess I'm not 100% surprised to see them do this well. It makes more sense than, like, you know, Lucky Lollies, to me. But yeah, I guess so. My original PRs probably weren't that good. I had a lot of teams in the back half that I thought were really good. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it for TDT. And let's move on to TDA. So I have some original PRs for this. I don't know why I'm on this page. I guess I'll just go through them. I think I remember what my PRs were. I don't think I need to find them again. At number 10, I had Victorious Victinis. I do think this team was pretty bad. Obviously, I love Hacker. He's the GOAT, but they have Photon for 20k, and that's pretty good. That's like their best player. I don't know who Tezzy is, but maybe he's pretty good. And after that, I just don't see very many people on this team that can consistently win games. So I think this team is pretty much easily the worst, which is unfortunate because, you know, Hacker's the GOAT. And then at number 9, I had Ramos Courage. You know, obviously this team has the Spanish core of Ramaxo and Taquito, but Taquito went for way too much money. 36.5 is too much. There is no LC in this tournament, and that is, you know, he should have gone for probably a little bit less than Ramaxo did, and Ramaxo probably should have gone for a little bit less than he did as well. And you have Atcher for 12k, which is, you know, obviously that's a pretty good price for Atcher. I think that's really good, actually. And I don't think it's impossible for this team to do well. I feel pretty similar to this team that I do about the French team, where, you know, it has the Spanish chemistry, um, but outside of that, you know, I find it unlikely for the team to do well, but not impossible. Um, then at number 8, I think I had Drunken Spoons. I made the PRs before Clone said, "Oh, I'm coming back." Um, so I guess they have Clone again now. I don't know what the hell is happening with that. I don't really think this team is. I mean, with Clone, it might be a little bit higher, I guess. I mean, the Captain Core is okay. And Techno is the GOAT, and Clone, you know, he is pretty good if they have him. And I think Street Cred Cookie is probably pretty okay. I don't think Ambi is that good. For 22k, that seems like a kind of a lot. And you have Rizzo and Renegade, who both can get wins, I guess. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna reorder this because they got Clone back. I don't think this team is the best. That's, you know, pretty much what it is. And then at 7, another one that I hate to put this low is Henty Normal Haven. I think if Phil cares, then this team does have a chance at making playoffs for sure. But I don't think Phil really cares. And beyond Phil, you know, Arctic Weave's the GOAT, and they have Albina, and they have Brett. And then they got Specs King, but then they traded him for Juten, I think. I don't know who Juten is. And then they have Z-Man, who's pretty good. I don't really know anyone else on the team. I think Rich is okay, actually. Yeah, I don't really know anyone else on the team beyond Z-Man and Rich. So, yeah, I mean, if Phil cares, I think this team could actually do really well. But, I kind of doubt that, so I'll put this team as low. And I think every team beyond this has a really solid chance of making playoffs. So yeah, at number 6 I have Tangay. And you know, obviously the question here is whether or not some of the better players on this team, like Turkey and Specs King, actually care. And if they do, I mean, I think this team should make playoffs easily. And obviously their captain core is by far the best in the league, so that carries them, you know, a couple spots above where they should be. And then I don't really know who like Keegan or Brown are, or Seaton. But I don't know. I think it, you know, again, like I said, it's possible for this team to make playoffs for sure. But yeah. And then at 5, I think I had Poke Shark Tank. They spent way too much money on Toxic. But I guess they made up for that by getting a complete steal with Brat. Benny the Bull for 23 is honestly probably fine. Starwolf should do well. Miles Gustavo is actually really good. Not many people know him. So yeah, I do think this team is quite good, but you know, I put them at 5th. I don't think they're as good as the top 4 that I have. Speaking of top 4, at 4 I had BBC Inc. You know, Pikachu's out, he's out. They spent too much money on him, but he should do well at least. And then Big Daddy Dave for 17 is kind of a steal, honestly. And X Luke should do pretty well in this league. 20k might be a bit much, but still. And then you have Robert Panda, the absolute legend, absolutely going to carry this team, going undefeated. And so yeah, I think this team gets 4th place pretty easily. But I don't think they're better than the top 3. And at 3 I had the Big Boot Crew. John and Boot as captains. That's a pretty good captain core. The both of players who can get wins for sure. You have Will for way more than he should have gone for, but you know, I think he fits on this team well. So there's that. And then Endless Gadgets for more than he should have gone for as well, but same thing as well. Like I wouldn't be willing to spend that much money on him, but still I think he fits on the team, so it's fine. And then Bunny for a reasonable price there as well. So you know, I think they have 5 players in their top 5 that can all get wins pretty easily. And then you see Mega Osh in the back, who another player that can get wins. And basically those 6 are what I think make this team good. All of them should be able to go positive in this league. So I think that means that this team will do well. However, at number 2, I have the Covenant Kings, who are easily... there's a pretty big cutoff between number 3 and number 2, I think. I think, you know, all 3 of 3, 4, 5, 6 were pretty even, but there's a pretty big cutoff here. I think the Covenant Kings is a really good team. Harris for 27 is a steal, apparently. I mean, I don't know who he is, but Undead told me he was a steal, and I have to trust my homie Undead. And then you have Pineapple, which is a complete steal, using the age-old technique of saying, I will not play for anybody else in order to get him for very cheap. And then ReggieTube for 12k, that's fine. He should do pretty well. Gammon should do really well. I mean, he went for 20k. He's on a team that I think he'll like. I think this is a good fit for him. And you have Yorktown for 25k, which is fine as well. I think that's a very good price for, you know, a DPL level player. Yeah, I think this team's great. I think it's really good. And you have Undead prep help, so, you know, obviously that's going to boost it to the next level. Undead's the GOAT. This is a GOAT team. But with that being said, number 1 is Team Africa for free. It's not even close. I mean, you do have a couple bad players on this team, like Halu and Wombo, but I think I'm gonna really carry the team. I really bring the team together. And you know, I'm kind of surprised that everyone let PK Madam draft PK Madam's Ego for so cheap at 3.5k. That's a really cheap price for PK Madam's Ego. And you know, you have Predator 30, Smogon Goat, and you know, so basically what I'm trying to say is that this team doesn't have Spoon, so it is garbage. Goodbye.